connection from private history to public history. We're going to start out with an activity. So everyone has a note card in front of them. And on this note card, you're going to fold it in half along the way. Does everybody have a note card? Yes? Okay. Okay, so you fold it in half like this, and you have a nice little line dividing the center. It doesn't matter what side you start on, but on the top half of one, you to think about for a minute meaningful relationships that you have in your life, and then write down the names of one person you think you have a meaningful connection or meaningful relationship with on the top half. This can be somebody that you trust, someone you can confide in, someone that you would talk to if you needed to. So everybody has a name of somebody. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do is write a couple of things that this person does, or qualities that they have, or traits, or something that makes them trustworthy, something that makes them a person that you can confide in. So go ahead and write down a couple things that come to mind. How this person maintains your relationship, how this person can foster your relationship. Bottom half where you've made that line, just list a couple of things that come to mind when you think of any ways this person can work towards bettering your relationship or better understanding your needs, things they could improve on or work on to make your relationship stronger. Just one or two things. Finish up your thoughts with that. Go ahead and set your cards to the side and come back to it.
So in this chapter, Covey discusses interdependence. And his philosophy is that interdependent relationships mean that you need others in order to become accomplished, in order to succeed, or to be a more fulfilled person. Interdependent relationships are things or is something that only independent people can achieve. So you need to know yourself in order to fully relate to other people. This includes knowing your circle of influence, which was discussed last time, having character ethic, not personality ethic, having an internal locus of control, and having your inner thoughts coincide with your outer actions. If you don't have that, if your inner thoughts don't coincide with your outer actions, then that creates a sense of duplicity, and other people can see that, and it's hard to relate to somebody.
A couple more thoughts on the circle of influence. You control the value that you place on a relationship. It takes strong character to be proactive and to focus on maintaining your relationships. So you ultimately have control over how your relationships go and how you act. It's important to be aware of your circle of influence. And personality ethic is often superficial, so if you're looking for meaningful connections, which are going to be ultimately the foundation for interdependence, you need to work on a character ethic.
Covey also has the idea of an emotional bank account, and he uses this analogy throughout the chapter. He discusses the fact that people can make withdrawals from a relationship or make deposits into a relationship, which are negative or positive aspects of the relationship. And the idea, obviously, is to strike a positive balance with the people around you. So he discusses 6 major deposits that you can have in a relationship. First, understanding the individual. Second, attending to the little things. Third, keeping commitments. Fourth, clarifying expectations. Fifth, showing personal integrity. And sixth, apologizing sincerely. And those are listed on the paper. And start taking notes on we're going to discuss the 6 deposits in depth.
Okay, so the first one is understanding the individual, and this is the key to every other deposit. It's taking the time to know what a deposit really looks like unique to the individual, because something that may look like a deposit to me can come off as a rejection to someone else. So it's important to know the needs of each individual and how to approach a relationship with them. And it's really just about like placing values, valuing the person enough to understand them as an individual, because you don't understand across relationships.
The second deposit is attending to the little things. Covey discusses the fact that small discourtesies, unkindnesses, or manners of disrespect can add up together to create one big withdrawal from another person's emotional bank account. This often does untold damage and creates a lot of fractures in a relationship. On the other hand, depositing small, meaningful gestures into a relationship can help it grow, and it can even help mend fractured relationships. Going back to the golden rule, going back to what Anna just said, attending to the small things in a person requires you to know the individual, so you need to get to know them better first, and then you can attend to the small things that actually be positive towards them personally.
Covey talks about keeping commitments next, and this one seems pretty simple, but the damage that we do when we make promises that we don't fulfill often has just huge ramifications on relationships. So don't make promises that you can't keep. Don't give someone your word if you don't intend to see it through to completion. Keeping promises builds trust, and the importance in that is that if someone has a trusting relationship with you, they're going to seek out your counsel and act upon it, which is just the primary basis for interdependence, using relationships to accomplish tasks in a relationship.
The fourth deposit is clarifying expectations. Covey argues that the number one thing that causes the most problems in relationships is having unclear, vague, ambiguous expectations. This includes having roles for the other person in the relationship or having a goal for the relationship that aren't explicitly communicated or stated with the other person. So this can create unclear expectations that can lead to hurt feelings, misunderstandings, disappointment, or withdrawals of trust on both sides of the relationship.
The next part of this is showing personal integrity, and integrity gets thrown around a lot, but it goes beyond honesty. Have you used this little example of honesty is our words conforming to reality, and integrity is conforming our reality to our words. This is keeping your promises and fulfilling expectations. It's not just saying that you're going to do something and then actually doing it. If someone has an expectation of you, you meet that, or you exceed it, but you don't fall short. Integrity involves a strong character ethic that does not diminish when people are not around. He used the example of gossiping. It withdraws from the person that you're with, but it also withdraws from your own personal integrity, because whoever you're talking about, someone who isn't present with, is getting to see a side of your character that is not favorable. So it's a withdrawal from your emotional bank account. And upholding integrity in all situations is going to allow people to see your character as strong, and there's not going to be a duplicity between your words and your actions.
The final deposit that Covey discusses is apologizing sincerely when you make a withdrawal. In order to do this, one must first possess independence of self. insecure people might feel vulnerable or weak or exposed when they apologize. So that would inhibit sincerity in their apology, and that would leave the apology merely superficial. Furthermore, if you are constantly making withdrawals and constantly apologizing, that overall creates a big withdrawal from the relationship.
Okay, we move out of the 6 major things into the laws of love and the laws of life. And the laws of life kind of boil down to cooperation, contribution to group, self-discipline, and integrity. And the law of love is to simply love unconditionally. When we attach strings and conditions to the gift of love, we are actually encouraging others to violate primary laws of life. And it's more noble to invest unconditionally in one person than to try to appeal to the masses. Like this whole idea of interdependence is really just relationship centered, and you want to be able to have strong, meaningful connections with people. So invest in a relationship rather than trying to climb the ladder of success or just